This is the Footbrawl Podcast with your hosts, Tyler, Andy, and Boyer.
Welcome back to Mantasy Footbrawl Podcast, presented by two of your performance-enhancing dads. Getting back to the normal days where only two of us showed up. Thanks for being sick again, Boyer. Nothing new here. How you been, Andy?
Not bad. 2-1, so better than you.
That is 100% true. 2-1 is much better than me. Not as good as the duo though. So
yeah, they're making it happen.
So all right. Well, we're gonna run through a couple fun facts. We're gonna run through week 3 recap. And then we have a new little segment that Andy wanted to run, a little true or false. And then we'll hit you guys with the start-sit decisions. So let's get moving. Fun facts for the league right now. Friar is the top scoring team 2 of 3 weeks. That's bad on us.
That is bad on us.
And Friar's leading the league in points. So at least the benefit to me losing to Friar this week is I'm losing to the future champ, it looks like. The guy's doing well through 3.
A lot of that is Lamar Jackson.
I understand. The good division, that top division, has the 3 highest scoring teams right now. So if you're in that top division, sucks to suck, I guess. See if you guys can fight it out a little bit.
Yeah, on that, not to steal your thunder, but only 2 teams, me and Friar, have averaged over 100 points these first 3 weeks. So I expect that to change. That feels pretty low. All the first and second round picks are shit in the bed so far. So
mostly my team.
They're all on Ty's team. I mean, it's everybody.
Yeah, no, I know. And then currently, I have the most points against in the league by more than 30 points to the second highest points against, which is Robbie. So if anybody's got a defensive coordinator out there that is looking for a home, I could use one. That for sure led to my 0-3 situation here.
Yeah, you got the most points scored in your division, Ty.
Is that good?
It's not helping you.
All right, so let's jump to the recap real quick. Friar kicked the crap out of the lowly 0-3 me. I sat CD and Singletary. Those were my 2 best players outside of Mahomes this week. Not a good decision on my side. Friar's riding Lamar Jackson and James Robinson to a 2-1 record. So good work drafting Lamar. He's single-handedly carrying you. Andy puts up over 100 for the second straight week to beat Mr. Commish. Andy had a solid lineup top to bottom this week. Jeremy sat his best running back. And Chase Edmonds, he rushed 6 whole times for 21 yards and 2 touchdowns. Not sure how that goes, but that's Jeremy's best running back. So I don't know. Without Andrews doing his thing, Jeremy would not have been where he was, and this matchup would have been a blowout. The 3-0 duo take down Robbie. The duo decided to take a shot on Keenan Allen, which was inactive for this last week. Good work on that. Luckily, you still got the win. Riding Hurts, Henry, and Mr. Patterson, which is doing his thing again this week. You can never predict that guy. We debated wide receivers to start for Robbie this last week, if you remember. We debated between 3 or 4 of them, and frankly, they all suck. Mm-hmm. So should probably figure that one out. Walker catches another win against the lowly Charlie's team. Walker had Pitts have a slight bounce back, but Justin Jefferson held to 14 yards. Charlie's riding timeshare running backs and bad wide receiver plays to a massive 65 points this week. Good work, Charlie. In the closest matchup, but not a high-scoring game, Boyer is able to squeak out a win over Chris. Luckily, Chris has handcuffs moving forward because nothing went right for his team this week. Jamal Williams with 22 points on his bench was his bright spot. So he's got Jamal Williams for the next couple weeks, possibly. He's got a couple other guys he can throw in. I believe Jeff Wilson, a couple of them. So at least he's got handcuffs to start, but his team's looking rough right now. Josh Allen did his thing for Boyer, and luckily Pierce stepped up against the Bears to help secure the win for Hurricane Ditka. Colin rides his Slim Reaper past Paul's shitty Brady Gaga. Colin received a gift of the week with a couple young wide receivers coming up big with Devonta Smith and Chris Olave. Paul lost Swift and Montgomery this week. Luckily, he listens to the podcast and handcuffs his running backs. Paul has Herbert and he has Jeff Wilson when he lost Mitchell earlier. So I lied earlier. I'm not looking at the lineups, but one of the other guys didn't have Wilson. But Paul has Herbert and Wilson, which are both at least starters for the time being. So he can hopefully ride out his injury stretch right here. So a rough week for some of us. Good week for some of us. How did our predictions look last week, Andy?
Not good.
Sounds about right.
We all picked Walker to beat Charlie, and he did. Ty, that's the only one you got right.
I'm good at this.
I picked myself to beat Jeremy as long as Herbert played, and he did. So I got that one. That's the only other one I got right. Boyer was the only one of us to pick the duo to beat Robbie, which they did comfortably. So Boyer got 2, I got 2, you got 1. On the year, Boyer and I have 8 correct picks through 3 weeks, and you have 6. Ty, you're averaging 2 a week out of the 6 games that we pick. Not good.
Not good? All right, well.
Also, fun fact, all 3 of us have picked you to win all 3 weeks. So there's 9 of our incorrect guesses right there.
We should stop doing that.
I think we're going to do it again this week.
Oh, all right. Real quick, Andy, since I was involved in the trade, I'll give you the trade. You give me your input. I'll give you a little bit of my side, and then we'll jump into true or false. I trade CeeDee Lamb, a keeper spot, and 3 draft dollars to pick up Kelsey. Thoughts? I know I've talked to you a little bit, but let everybody else know your opinion.
So I get it. Like, I'll start there. I get it. But looking at, all right, I'm going to look at it from Charlie's perspective. Charlie effectively swapped out his flex to be changed from Kelsey to CeeDee, which the way CeeDee's been playing, he's been getting 11 plus targets a week. He's not getting quite as many touchdowns as Kelsey's, but that's not a big drop for Charlie, right? Not that he's really playing for this year anyways, but getting the 3 draft dollars and a keeper spot and really not taking a lineup hit for Charlie, that's fucking good work, man. Good work. And that's because he has Waller that he can do that, right? But even still, like, that's a haul for not having to take a hit week to week. So great trade for Charlie. On your end, I mean, your lineup just on name value is the best in the league without Kelsey. I mean, you were projected to have the most points far and away. Not that Yahoo's projections are fantastic, but I don't think anybody was really arguing with that. And now you just upgraded from Gerald Everett / Cole Kmet, who you can definitely drop, to Kelsey, and plugged in the best player at that position and the only hole you had in your lineup. So is it enough to get you out of this 0-3 hole you're in? Probably. You probably didn't even need him to do it in the first place, but looking at 2 other guys in your division that are 2-1 doesn't feel good. And, you know, you lost a keeper spot. I'm not seeing a ton of keeper value on your roster right now, so not the end of the world, but that's probably $7 or $8 worth of value there, plus $3, plus CD Lamb. You know, it feels like a lot, but you get Travis Kelce, who I've consistently said is the biggest advantage of fantasy football, and you get him for the next 12 weeks. 12 weeks of regular season plus 2 more of playoffs. So that's good. Like you paid what you had to pay to go get him, and you got him. I am gonna just lump this in with your trade with Jeremy's to talk about how much you've lost so far in trading so far, because I want to call it out. So you flipped Christian Kirk and $3 for CD Lamb, and then CD was in this trade. So effectively, you paid a keepable Christian Kirk through 3 weeks, $6, and the keeper spot for Travis Kelce. If the keeper spot's worth, call it $7, that's $13 worth of value next year, plus a keepable Christian Kirk that you gave up to get Kelce. That's a lot. But again, I think last year at the trade deadline, I sold Kelce to Paul for $18, and that was through 8 or 9 weeks, and we're only through 3 weeks, so you get an extra 5 weeks out of them.
Right. There was another year that Kelce went for Kareem Hunt and $10 or $11.
Yeah,
there was another year he went for like $15. So I mean, I didn't feel bad because Kelsey's value over the past 3 years, because I was looking back, his value is equivalent to $15 to $18.
Right. And if it doesn't go well for you, you can go trade him, get all that value back. You probably don't get Christian Kirk back, but you could get back roughly the money in the keeper spot or equivalent money or whatever. So you're really only out Christian Kirk at the end of the day if you do have to go resell him if this doesn't fix your team. But in my opinion, your team really didn't need fixing. It's been 2 weeks of bad luck, and then you shit the bed this week, but that'll happen.
Yeah, but you know what? I picked up, Kirk was on my bench. I flipped him for Lamb. I think Lamb was the better option long term. Then I'm playing the do I start Higgins, Pittman, Lamb, Bateman, Michael Thomas?
Yeah,
whatever.
You had an extra receiver, so it made sense. You made your starting lineup way better by changing Gerald Everett into Travis Kelce, and if that means that you're playing Michael Thomas instead of CeeDee Lamb in your flex every week, bummer. Like, you're getting your points.
And I've got Singletary to go with Eckler and McCaffrey if Eckler and McCaffrey are ever Eckler and McCaffrey again. But the three of them can cover my flex as well. So my thought was get the tight end that's really quote unquote holding me down, assuming my team can be good. And it's a Mahomes to Kelce stack, which should only be better, assuming they can connect at least once a week. Will be all right.
Yeah, that's fair. All right.
So,
well, can I doctor your team real quick?
Sure.
Because there is a problem here, and I mean your team is stacked top to bottom. Drop Kmet, drop whichever Philly running back you have. I think it's Gainwell, and pick up your handcuffs. Pick up Foreman. Pick up Sony Michel, and just lock those running backs in for the rest of the season. So that way, if and when something happens to McCaffrey or Eckler, you've got it covered. And I mean, you're going to take a hit in production because Foreman's not McCaffrey, but you don't want to lose a $15 running back and be hurting on bye weeks and having to play Singletary every week. Get a guy who's going to get you 10 points, lock that in. You've got a deep enough roster to weather bye weeks as it is. Just don't fuck up and lose a running back because you didn't have a handcuff.
No, I get that. I got a couple waivers sitting here. We'll see what happens tomorrow.
Fair.
So, I don't know. We'll see. I had to make a move to win now. Start 0-3. It is what it is. We gotta make a move and go from there.
Yep, I like it. You got to be aggressive. You're 0-3, and
I've never been aggressive. and this is the year I'm going for it. I'm selling out. I'm trying to do what I got to do to make this comeback.
Yeah, I find it interesting that like Charlie's team was so bad that he was looking to sell pretty much right away. Like I talk to him about Kelsey every week, and he was like, I'm gonna see, but it only took 3 weeks for him to sell. Like we all knew Charlie's team was gonna be pretty bad. But the more interesting thing is that you've struggled through 3 weeks, but I expect that to change.
Yeah, for sure.
Hopefully not till next week, but we'll get to that later.
All right, well, let's jump into our new segment, true or false. Andy's got 6 different questions, and we'll go from there.
Your statements, Ty, you have to tell me if they're true or false.
My bad. Statements.
All right. And we can talk about these as much or as little as we want, but I'll just start with the first one. All right, number 1. Christian Kirk is a top 10 wide receiver rest of season.
Oh. False.
False. All right. He is currently wide receiver 5 on the year. For what it's worth, wide receiver 10 is Devin Duvernay. So,
right.
Yeah, I think he's right there. You know, is it 11, 12, 13? Maybe, but I'm comfortable saying true. And part of that is that he's got almost 10 targets a week. He's 3rd in the league in nope, I'm looking at the wrong line. He's getting 9 targets a week, and he's up there in yards too. It's not just touchdowns. He's got 1 touchdown a week so far, which is great, but you can't maintain that pace. But he's getting the volume, and the Jaguars look good too. So all of that together, I think so far, I'm believing what I'm seeing, and what I'm seeing is a top 10 wide receiver. So I'm comfortable saying true.
Yeah, I'm curious if he didn't have a touchdown week 1. He had 2 week 2, 1 week 3. I'm curious to see if the touchdown pace can continue.
Yeah,
which is where my concern is.
Sure.
And if anybody is seeing this from the other side of things, like, yeah, James Robinson's doing well. But I mean, Zay Jones is all right. He scored, but teams got to start looking at this and be like, Christian Kirk is semi for real. Like, we got to shut that guy down.
Yeah, that's true.
And have him beat you somewhere else. So I don't know that Christian Kirk is an alpha wide receiver that is, even if he's getting doubled, is going to continue this pace. So I think that if teams wise up to, hey, this is the option, and Trevor Lawrence is going there 12 times a game, we need to adjust that.
Yeah.
So I think he ends up just outside of the top 10. I mean, you got guys like Jamar Chase that are down there still.
Sure.
One of the problem is Jamar Chase is splitting with Higgins and Boyd. You got a guy like Terry McLaurin, who the hell knows what's going to happen, but he's got Curtis Samuel and what's his nuts that scored a bunch, Jahan Dotson. You got Deebo Samuel that's down at 25 right now that very well can make a jump at some point. I don't know that Christian Kirk can maintain top 10. Top 12, top 15, sure. I'm just not sure it's going to be a top 10.
Yep, that's fair. It's a tall order. He's got, I think, all 3 weeks he's over 70 yards. So,
Right.
I don't think the touchdowns can continue at this pace, but I like that he's been consistently getting targets, getting catches, getting yards beyond just the touchdowns. So
For sure.
I'm in. All right, number 2 on the list. The Eagles are the best team in the NFC.
I mean, at this point, it's hard to say they're not. So I
don't
guess,
see anyone else I like better.
I guess true.
Because like the Rams don't look great so far, and I expect that to get better, but they don't look great. The Niners don't look great.
Packers haven't looked great.
Cardinals
Vikings
don't look
aren't
good.
looking great.
Yeah. Bucks look pretty bad. The Saints haven't been good. It's
Yeah.
not the Panthers or the Falcons or the Lions. So I don't see another team. And like, Philly's been outstanding through 3 games. I'm not willing to crown them as, Super Bowl contenders just yet. But when I look at what else there is in the NFC, I don't see a challenger to them for the rest of the year.
Not right now.
Yep. So
At this point, the Eagles are the best team in the NFC.
Yep. True. I would go with true. At the end of the year, I expect them to be the number 1 seed in the NFC.
I don't doubt it at this point. The way they're playing, they've got the weapons, they've got what they need, they're doing what they're doing. I don't doubt it at this point.
All right, number 3, and it's on my board. Tyler misses playoffs. True or false?
True.
I'm going false, especially since you added Kelsey. There's like, you should be fine. And like, you could still have a shit week and you could still get beat by somebody's team going off, but your team should be sitting right around 110 points a week. That's going to be tough for most of the teams in the league to beat, especially the way scores have been going this year. I mean, if you look at your schedule so far, you've already played Paul and Fryer, who are 2 of the higher scoring teams in the league by my eye. Paul's team kind of shut the bed this week, and last week. Last week they had 97, so shot the bed this week, but that was running back injuries. I think Paul's team's pretty solid. So like, you've already played a couple of harder teams. You get weeks against me, against Colin, against Charlie. Even Chris's team is.
I get Walker later on still.
Not great. Yeah, Walker's team isn't great. Robbie's team isn't great. I mean, Boyer's team could be great, could be not great. Duo's team's been good so far, but I don't know if I'm buying it with, Patterson being this. I think Patterson's RB4 or something crazy right now. Like, I don't know. So you've gotten some of your hard matchups out of the way. You just added a piece to plug a hole in your roster. I think you do it, and I don't think that you're sweating here come the last couple weeks of the season.
I just have a bad feeling something's going to go wrong, though, because I'm 0-3. I've played the highest scoring team a couple weeks. I've got the most points against me. I just have a feeling that because it's me and my luck, something's going to happen that I'm going to be finding myself in a hole somewhere.
Yeah, and so, I mean, nothing you can do about people scoring more than you when you put up 112 and lose. I mean, that's respectable. Last week you shot the bed, but
I put up 101, I put up 100.6 week 1, lost to 101.8.
Right.
Put up 112, lost to 119, and I shot the bed week 3.
Yeah. So you shouldn't be where you're at as it is, but I mean, clearly your team was fine and is better now. So I think you're fine.
Yeah, I just have a feeling something bad's going to happen. That's why I'm saying no. So we'll see. Based on my team, based on what it should be, yes, I should make the playoffs. But I just have a bad feeling of how this year started that I may or may not make it.
Yep. All right, number 4. The AFC West will turn it around. That's Broncos, Chargers, Raiders, even the Chiefs to a certain extent.
Yes. I think the Chiefs and Chargers do. I don't know about the Broncos, but they got the weapons. I don't know what's going on there. Chiefs, Chargers, and Raiders, I think, are going to be fine moving forward. I'm nervous about the Broncos and kind of their output. But the Chiefs, I think, are going to get better as the year goes. The Chargers have to figure it out at some point. I mean, they've had Keenan Allen injured and Eckler's not really been involved. They can't get any, I'm not going to say any worse, but like they're not looking great.
Yeah. And then, I mean, I agree. I think that applies to the Broncos too. They can't look much worse than they have so far.
Right. I'm just nervous to when that's going to happen for them.
Yeah. Yeah. My concern is the coaching staff in Denver and Las Vegas seems to be an issue. I like the talent on all four of these teams. One of my goals going into the draft was to invest into this division because I saw shootout potential in 6 division games, and then anytime they play the Bills or the whoever, the Ravens this year, I was, you want to be invested in those games where it's 30-40 or whatever it is.
Right.
And I figured, well, hell, you've got Derek Carr's the worst quarterback in the division, and he's thrown to Waller and Adams, and like it just looked like it was going to be great on paper, and so far it's been pretty shit. So
Yeah.
I still think that it gets better, but I don't think it's going to get to where I expected it would be, if at all. Maybe late in the season once things are figured out a little better, but I don't think I'm expecting what I expected before at this point. It's been bad, and I think coaching's the main issue.
Yep. So,
all right, number 5.
They've got to get better, but they won't get up to your standards.
Can't get much worse.
So let's go on to 5.
All right, number 5. We should be a little concerned about Justin Jefferson.
False. If you guys weren't concerned about Kyle Pitts at 19 yards each the first 2 weeks, there's no reason to be concerned about Justin Jefferson at this point.
So I am a little concerned. Part of that is that Justin Jefferson was being drafted depending on, if in snake draft terms, like fourth, fifth, sixth overall, middle to upper first round, depending on who you're talking to. Some people had him over Cooper Kupp, and I think the expectation was that the Rams offensive coordinator would come over, Justin Jefferson would take what he did last year plus what Cooper Kupp did last year and have 2,800 receiving yards and 35 touchdowns. And like, that's all well and good, but seeing these last 2 weeks him basically get shut down by a good cornerback and safety help, like Thielen's not getting it done anymore in terms of like taking defense attention away. Like, he's been mildly productive, but you can get away with single covering him. Osborne's not great either, and that lets these defenses game plan Justin Jefferson. And these last 2 weeks, they've been able to take him away, which is concerning because nobody could take away Cooper Kupp last year. So all the people who were like, well, Justin Jefferson is, the second coming of Christ, plus the guy who just made Cooper Kupp the best wide receiver in the last 20 years. Of course, this is going to be incredible. I think that sentiment is gone. I think, can he finish top 5? Absolutely. We've seen it, and even week 1 we saw it. But a lot of people had him number 1 on their board for wide receivers, even ahead of Cooper Kupp. And I don't think we're talking about that anymore. I think that we're expecting top 5, and we could be disappointed. I think he probably comfortably finishes top 10 just because of who he is and what the offense is trying to do. And he'll get his. I'm not concerned that he's got the big game
potential. He's got big game potential for sure.
Right. I'm not dropping him. We're nowhere near anything like that after a couple of bad games. But I do think that that at least I am stepping back expectations a bit from where we started this year. I did not expect him to be able to be shut down by a good cornerback, and he just was 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah. No, I feel that. But I mean, I know Kyle Pitts is not Justin Jefferson, but Kyle Pitts came back with a good game this week at 80 some yards. He still doesn't score touchdowns. I'm mind blown by that. But Justin Jefferson's still getting targeted. He's going to have a couple of those long ones. He's had a couple pass interference calls that just gets the yards without his reception total going up. I think he's going to get his. I'm not overly concerned about him yet.
Fair enough. All right, last one. Number 6. The Lions will beat the Packers this year. True or false?
And the standings?
Nope.
Or they're just going to beat them
In
head
a
to
game.
head?
They play
In a
them
game.
twice.
I was worried. I was like, are we really asking this? Sure. Why not? You get 2 chances. I like the Lions.
I kind of think they will too.
So my answer is true. Yes, the Lions will beat the Packers this year.
Yep. I'm going true too.
That one doesn't need a lot of explaining.
Yep.
Chris, you can tell us why we're wrong later. So, all right. Well, let's get off true and false, and let's get to a little pow. What you drinking?
I'm drinking some guava kombucha, trying to be healthy.
Trying to detox over there or something.
Yeah, it makes me poop.
I'm drinking the Wiser again.
Church beer.
No, I should start bringing wine in here, then nobody question me.
You're only allowed to drink beer with a flag on it when you're at church.
All right. So we're gonna jump into week 4 predictions, start sit decisions. Andy,
What's up?
me versus you first. Tell me about it.
All right. As will become tradition, I have a tough wide receiver decision this week. I'm playing Terry against Dallas. I don't have any issues with that. Terry's been my best receiver so far. He's not my highest or second highest projected receiver, but I don't really give a shit because he's the one I like the most. Juju against Tampa, not really in consideration. Lazard against New England, maybe, especially since he's got a touchdown in both of the games he's been back, but he's only got 6 catches. So I'm probably not going that route at wide receiver 2. It really comes down to DK at Detroit or Thielen at New Orleans. Ty, do you have an inkling there at what you would lean toward?
So if you're concerned about Jefferson, Thielen does get red zone targets. Thielen got a touchdown, 8 targets, 6 receptions last week.
Mm-hmm.
If you're concerned about Jefferson, I think Thielen's the play. If I'm looking at it as I think Jefferson's still going to be fine, I'm probably starting DK against Detroit because Detroit gives up a lot of points. Detroit's been a shootout game every week so far. They're not one to stifle on defense and then you're hoping for a touchdown out of somebody. DK had 12 targets last week. It's his highest total. He only had 5 receptions, 64 yards and a touchdown. But I think after the stink he threw, Seattle decided they have to get this guy the ball. I think it could be a very similar outlook. They played Atlanta last week, which was a not great defense. I think it could be a similar outlook again this week against Detroit. So I think I'm leaning on the 10 to 12 targets to DK and DK being able to pull something off against Detroit.
Yeah, I am leaning that direction. I am kind of concerned that Jeff Okudah just took away Justin Jefferson, and between DK and Tyler Lockett, it's probably going to be DK that gets that treatment if he's going to shadow somebody this week. So I am a little concerned there.
The difference is Thielen can't stretch the field.
Right.
And Osborne had a decent game this last week.
He did. That's true. That was toward the end of the game, but it was a close game, so it's not like that matters. It's not like it was garbage time or something.
So I don't know. Because Thielen can't really stretch the field, maybe that makes a difference. Lockett and Metcalf can both stretch the field and can both run those intermediate routes. So maybe they're going to be switching back and forth. Thielen's not that guy. He's a short guy. He's a red zone guy. He's not stretching the field, which gave probably more of a shadow option. So I'm not as concerned about that, but who knows?
All right. Now, I guess moving to the flex, am I keeping Gibson in there or playing, let's call it Thielen? if I'm putting DK in my starting lineup. I think I'm leaning toward keeping Gibson in there. Fournette had a really good first week against the Cowboys, and then Saquon had a decent game last night against them too. Mixon got shut down, but Mixon has not been doing great, and their O-lines looked pretty bad. Gibson hasn't been great, but he's been getting the touchdowns to kind of salvage his week. So I don't know how I feel about him in general right now, but between him and Thielen, I think I'd rather take the guaranteed volume of Gibson, and they're both kind of just hoping for a touchdown.
Yeah, Gibson's been 13, 10, 10. He's been getting at least 12 touches on the ground a game.
Yeah.
He gets a handful through the air. The Redskins, they're not the Redskins. They're not the football team. They're the Commandos.
The Commandos.
They had an absolute garbage week last week, and he still got the touches, still got a touchdown. I think Gibson is being leaned on a little bit right now, even though Wentz throws 30, 40 times a game for the most part. Gibson's still getting his. I'm keeping Gibson in.
Yeah, it was good to see. And granted, he got that touchdown when the game was out of reach, but it was good to see that they still went to him at the end of that game, even though they were losing. It was good to see that he still got the 12 touches, 12 rushes, even though they were losing. Only getting one catch was disappointing after how many he had the first week, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I think I'm leaving Gibson in, so which means Thielen's probably on the bench this week.
Yeah.
All right. You want to walk us through your lineup decisions? It's probably Michael Thomas mostly.
He's coming off a foot injury this last week, so we'll see, or toe injury or whatever. So against Minnesota, I'm not necessarily scared to play him against Minnesota. But coming off an injury, we know his history. I'm not playing Bateman against Buffalo. So I think it's gonna be Singletary. I don't know that I really have another option this week that I like better than that. And the Bills like Singletary. I'm confused by the handful of Zach Moss touches every week when Singletary is a good running back. But, it is what it is. But I think I have to keep Singletary in, especially if it's going to be a rain game like it's showing now. If you got Bateman playing in the rain against Buffalo, or you got Michael Thomas coming off a toe injury, or Devin Singletary in the rain, you got to lean a running back in the rain.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm kind of leaning that direction too. Given our projections and your stacked lineup compared to mine, I think that you're wanting to make sure you lock in a floor and not swing for the fences. But I do like Bateman against Buffalo. Baltimore's going to have to put up points in that game. Their defense has been pretty bad, so Buffalo should do a lot, which means that Baltimore's going to have to match them if they want to stay competitive. So I like Bateman for the long touchdown this week, but your roster's not in a position where you need to Hail Mary for a long touchdown out of a guy. You can just play a guy who's going to make sure you get 5 points and might get you the touchdown anyways. So I'm not changing it, but I do like Bateman this week.
Yep, fair enough.
Right.
We're going to go to Jeremy versus Walker.
Whoa. Are we all just assuming that you're going to win?
Ty's right. Yeah, my fault.
I got Ty. Boyer picked Ty as well. Ty, you're going to pick you?
I should not pick me like I said last week. I should have picked Fryer last week so I could have won. I should pick Andy this week so I can win, but I'm going to pick me. I got to get off this 0-3 skid. Here we go. Let's pray for the best.
Wait till next week, please.
Now my turn to go to Jeremy versus Walker.
Yeah, now you can go. I just didn't want you to get too excited. We were all going to pick you, and I wanted you to enjoy that.
All right, cool. It's not been a good thing for me so far. So Jeremy right now is Tua with his injury versus Kirk Cousins against New Orleans. With Tua playing Thursday night, he'll know early what's going to happen there. Cincinnati's defense isn't great, so if Tua's healthy, I might go that way, but I'm probably just leaning play Cousins anyway, as much as Tua's been a stud.
I think if Tua's playing, I'm playing him. He's been good so far, and I like I like the matchup with Cincinnati, and Cousins hasn't looked great. So if Tua's healthy, I'm playing him.
Okay. You got Amon-Ra that's questionable for this week, so if he's playing, you're playing him. You're not sitting that guy right now.
Yep.
Other than that, you've got Mixon is playing, then you got Hilaire, Sanders, Edmonds. Are you sitting anybody for Edmonds this week, or are you just leaving Sanders and Clyde and banking on what they can give you? Miles Sanders put up 8 and 4 the last 2 weeks. I mean, Edmonds has done 4 and 14, but there was mostly off touchdowns. So 4 and 2.
Yeah. I like that Miles Sanders has settled right into the I don't catch passes, I get 15 touches a week, and I don't crack 100 yards after his week 1 where he had 13 carries for 96 yards but happened to fall into the end zone. But I'm keeping Miles Sanders in.
You do have Curtis Samuel that I'd consider playing.
Yeah, I think I'm benching CEH.
You've also got to look at Amon-Ra could be out, so you've got Curtis Samuel in there if needed.
That's fair. I'm assuming Amon-Ra St. Brown plays. I'm getting CEH out of the lineup. He's not getting touches. He's getting touchdowns, but he's only got 22 attempts. That's 7 a week. He's been catching the ball, and that's good. But against Tampa, I don't like the matchup, and I'm not a fan of the volume that CEH has been giving you. So I'm moving Sanders up to the starting lineup or to RB2 and benching CEH. It's just a matter of if I want to get Edmonds or Curtis Samuel in there.
I'm playing Samuel. If I'm playing one of the two of them off the bench, I'm playing Samuel this week.
Yeah, I think I am too. Samuel, like, their offense has been built to get him the ball. They're scheming him. I mean, even at the goal line, like, he's getting some of those looks. He gets the rushes. He's Deebo Samuel light. And he's the most prominent player in their offense right now.
They had an absolute shit game, and he still put up 48 yards and receiving, another handful of yards on the ground. He still had 61 yards, put up 6.1. If that's your floor, I think I'm taking that floor over the possible touchdowns in Edmonds.
Yeah, I agree. And it's not like Edmonds is a touchdowns guy anyways. Like, he did it last week, and that was weird. But, like, it's not like I'm like, oh, Chase Edmonds, the goal line back. Like, that's not a thing.
Raheem Mostert's still been out touching Edmonds. It just, neither one looked good last week.
Yeah.
So I don't know. All right, so let's jump over to Walker's team. I guess his real decision is, are you trusting Melvin Gordon against the Raiders, or are you playing Zeke Pollard combo against Washington?
I think you're keeping the Zeke Pollard combo. I mean, Pollard's outscored Zeke the last 2 weeks, I think. No, Zeke had more points last night, but Pollard still had 105 yards. So I'm keeping them both.
Yeah, are you keeping Amari Cooper in over Gordon, I assume, at this point, because he's been doing it?
Yeah. Honestly, I like Henderson better than Melvin Gordon, just because the Denver offense has been so bad. And I know that Akers has kind of taken over the Rams backfield, but of the two, I'm not jazzed about either, but I like Henderson better, but I'm keeping Amari Cooper in for sure.
As much as I hate it, I would play Lockett over both of those running backs this week, I think, if it came down to it. But
still, he's got.
You're not worried about the flex. Cooper staying in the flex. I'm not playing Henderson against the Niners. Their defense is fine.
Yeah.
And I would play Gordon if I had to move one of these out, but against Washington gives up points. I'm cool keeping those two in. So who's going to win this matchup?
Jeremy's got injury questions that makes this hard. Jeremy's wide receivers have been carrying him, and Mark Andrews is also really solid, but his running backs, including Mixon, have been not great, and that's going to continue. I think Walker's firepower at wide receiver is enough to win him this week. So I'm going Walker.
I'm going Walker as well, strictly off of the Zeke Pollard against Washington. I think that matchup is fine, and if they can both put up 10 points as wide receivers, and hopefully Kyler Murray doesn't shit the bed, we'll be able to carry him.
Yeah. Boyer also chose Walker.
Fair enough. All right. So let's jump to the next matchup of the duo versus Paul.
Paul got bit by the injury bug with Montgomery and Swift. So he's having some issues. He does have Khalil Herbert, but worst case scenario here is Monty being a game time decision and then going and then, being on a snap count or something like that. But it's hard to figure out what Paul's going to do at running back because he's got these injury issues, but I kind of think that it's gonna sort itself out for him. So I have a hard time trying to make a lineup decision here. Yeah, looking at his bench, it's just handcuffs. So Baltimore defense against Buffalo, you're not playing. Bears against the Giants is for sure staying in. I don't think anybody's looking to play a defense against Buffalo. Moving to the duo side. Let's see here. Yeah, I think Keenan Allen is back at practice, and I don't have any itch to get Garrett Wilson in there. So I don't see any real lineup decisions on either side, barring any injuries. I suppose, are you playing Butker at kicker or Yoo-Hoo Koo? Why the fuck do you have two kickers, duo?
Because Butker's been hurt.
Right, but Koo is like the second highest scoring kicker in the league, so just drop Butker. They're fucking kickers.
Yeah, I don't really care. Pick a kicker, play him. It is what it is. Yeah. To be honest, I'd probably play Koo against Cleveland over Butker against Tampa Bay anyway. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But both of their lineups are pretty set. I don't think there's a whole lot to go around
there. Fair. Ty, who you got in this one?
I'm taking the duo again. I just with that Montgomery situation with Paul having to play Jeff Wilson, I don't think Jeff Wilson's enough at that running back 2 spot to have much of a ceiling. He'll have a 8-point week floor, but it's not enough. If Cup, London, or Debo has a down week like Debo's had the last 3 weeks, he's broken 10 one week, but it was 10.6. London's okay, but he could have a down week. I mean, really, Paul's only set guy is Cooper Kupp that I think is a boom guy. So I'm going with the duo here.
I am struggling because I want to pick Paul. I like Kupp. I like Samuel. I like Drake London even. Between the injuries at running back and the gap between Jalen Hurts and Tom Brady right now, I'm struggling to pull the trigger on that. But
man, I feel you.
Because, I mean, part of it is, I don't like Derrick Henry this week, but even a bad week for Derrick Henry is probably 8 or 9 points. I don't like Cordero Patterson ever, but he's got a 19-point game and a 21-point game to his name this year already. So I'm over a full season into being wrong on Cordero Patterson. I'm just going to keep being wrong on him. Both of their tight ends suck. I don't like Kamara this week because he's been awful, and Minnesota's defense is okay, but I don't know. Fuck it. I'm going with my gut. I'm going with Paul. I don't like it, but both of these teams have issues. In my opinion, Duo really needs to drop a kicker.
That's what it comes down to. Drop
That's
a
what
kicker,
it
you might
comes
have a
down to.
chance.
Manage your lineup correctly.
Don't start an inactive Keenan Allen. He'll play this week, but come on.
The fantasy gods are going to get you guys for starting an inactive player last week. That's what it is. That's where I'm putting my money. I'm siding with the fantasy gods here.
What's Boyer got?
Boyer picked the duo, so
All right.
I am the outlier here.
All right. So just so everybody knows, whatever team I pick is going to lose this week. So I apologize. All right. So we're going to jump to Fryer versus Robbie. Fryer's team. Damian Harris got out touched pretty bad last week. Still put up 10 points because he had a touchdown. Are you going to start him over Kareem Hunt?
Not against Atlanta. Yeah, I think.
But Damian Harris has Green Bay, and that's one of the worst run defenses in the league.
That's true. The Bears gashed them up pretty good, man. But if Mac Jones is hurt, are they going to move the ball at all?
Right.
Yeah, that's tough. I still think I'm going to keep Kareem Hunt in.
James Conner is the other option against Carolina.
Yeah, I play Connor over both of them. Connor's got the goal line plus the fact that he's the lead back anyways. Yeah, give me Connor over both of them.
Yeah, that would be my thought as well. Is Connor is the starting back. That offense has looked freaking ridiculously bad so far, but Connor's got to get involved. So I'm going to take the hopeful volume over whatever the 1B is and Damian Harris and Kareem Hunt. So I don't know. Mike Evans is back. Devontae Adams, Marquise Brown. You're starting all three of those. You're not starting Jerry Jeudy over any of those.
Oh.
So you're good there. All right. And then with Robbie's team, he doesn't, I mean, we'll have this conversation every week, and it doesn't make a damn bit of difference. His running backs are solid. I'll trade you a wide receiver plus for a running back. But he's got Allen Robinson and Mooney in his starting lineup right now. Landry, which is questionable right now. Myers, which is questionable right now. And a whole bunch of shit at wide receiver. If these are your options, I'm probably just keeping Robinson and Mooney in and praying for some upside. But without Mac Jones, I'm not starting Myers right now. And Jarvis Landry, it had a foot injury this week, and it's not believed to be serious, but Chris Olave stepped up big. If Michael Thomas comes back, I think Jarvis Landry is going to be the 3. So I think you have to play Robinson and Mooney open that they're the 1 and 2 and offenses they're not getting the ball in.
Yeah, Olave's had 13 targets these last 2 weeks since Colin traded for him. And in those 2 weeks, Landry's had 25 and 22 receiving yards after having 114 in week 1. So clearly there's a shift there in who is getting the looks, and that's not good for Landry. I'm with you, Ty. I don't think I can change Robinson and Mooney right now for the options that Robbie has, but good God, man, go make a move. Like, I have 5 receivers on my bench. I will sell you Juju for more money than you want to pay for him because you're in my division. But like, start Juju over Mooney. Go talk to Charlie, pick one of his receivers, and give him money for him because Charlie's selling at this point. Like, it is a very easy problem to fix, and you don't even have to give up one of your players. Like, just find a guy that has too many receivers and go say, hey, I would really like to drop Darnell Mooney because he is awful at football because the Bears don't throw the ball at all. He has 4 catches on the year. 4. And you and I both agree that he's Robbie's best option at wide receiver this week. Go fix it. It's bad. It's so bad, but
I'll take
it's bad on his bench too.
I'll take Saquon off your hands. You can have Singletary and a wide receiver, and I'll give you some draft money. We'll talk it out. Just I need another injured running back. So if you need to get rid of an injury-prone running back, send him my way.
That would make sense for you, Ty. I can't imagine that the jump down from Saquon to Singletary's worth Robbie making that move, though. But
I know. I'm
just quit playing Mooney. Find anybody else. Literally anyone else.
Fair enough. All right. Who's going to win this matchup?
My money's on Fryer. Lamar Jackson is 2019 Lamar Jackson, which means that his 24-point projection is about 10 points too low. And the rest of Fryer's team is very solid. So I'm going with Fryer comfortably in this one.
Robbie's freaking running backs just make me want to say Robbie, but I can't do it. I'm going with Fryer as well.
Boyer picked Robbie. So.
All right.
Well, I mean, those running backs have good matchups this week, but
Hawkinson has a good matchup this week.
Sure.
I mean, he does.
Yeah. Hawk has 10 catches this year and his high in yards so far is 38 in week 1.
I'm not saying he's done well so far. I'm just saying
it's only 3 weeks, but he's not the one getting the looks in that offense so far, which is not great. So you're hoping for a touchdown.
All right, take us to Chris versus Charlie for me.
All right. Chris versus Charlie. I think we all know which way this is going to go. Let's start here. Stafford against the Niners or Wentz against Dallas? Stafford so far has 5 interceptions and only 4 touchdowns. Carson Wentz, on the other hand, has 7 touchdowns and only 3 interceptions. Never thought I would say those words, but Carson Wentz doing better than Matt Stafford thus far. What do you think, Ty?
Dallas's defense looked solid this last week.
I mean, against the Giants.
They're playing the Commandos this week. It's not like this team's that much better than the Giants.
I mean, I would say that Wentz and the Commandos are a lot better than Danny Dimes. To be fair, they held Joe Burrow under 200 yards and only 1 touchdown. So, that's a fine argument. But if you want to tell me they shut down Dan Jones, fuck off. Everybody shuts down Dan Jones.
That sucks.
It's not a great decision to have to make.
I am probably sticking with Wentz.
I think I am too.
As weird as that is to say, Wentz has not thrown the ball less than 41 times in 3 games.
Yeah.
Which is
a big deal.
And Matt Stafford has thrown the ball over 40 times once. He's thrown 25, 36, and 41.
Yeah.
So his 41 attempt game ended in 3 interceptions and 7 fantasy points.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to start Wentz this week, and I'm going to hate myself for it, but that's what I'm doing.
Fair enough. The other decision here would be: Are you putting anybody in over Deontay? I don't think so. I don't really like J.K. Dobbins after what they just did to him this week with only 7 touches. Penny against Detroit, maybe.
I'm playing Penny. I'm playing Penny if Dalvin Cook is out. I'm playing
over
him.
Madison. He's got the handcuff.
Oh shit! I didn't see Madison. My bad. Oh fuck. I don't know. I may start Penny over Madison against Detroit. Detroit gives up yards, gives up points.
Yeah, I'm actually okay with that. I think I personally would leave Madison in, but I don't mind the swap if Dalvin Cook is not good to go.
I think it's going to go to more of a pass-heavy offense. I know Madison is fine, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think that I'm taking out Deontay Johnson at the flex to put Penny in, though.
I don't think so either. Deontay gets the targets. He's gotten 10, 11, and 12 targets. You've got to go with it and pray that he can get more than 57, 80 yards, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Johnson's the play, though. He gets the volume. You got to let him ride.
Fair. On Charlie's side, I don't really see any lineup decisions here. Projections look close, but you can't tell me that anybody's playing DJ Moore right now, coming off of 1 catch for 2 yards last week. He's got 7 catches on the year. Like, you're not putting him in over Akers or Ramondre or Gabe Davis. So that's the only guy on his bench that's healthy enough to be in consideration. I don't think KJ Osborne's up there enough to really merit being in the talks either. So I think Charlie's lineup's set.
The only thing I would say is if Ramondre had a tougher matchup, I might consider playing him or sitting him, but he's got Green Bay. They should just tear with, like we said, with Damian Harris. Mac Jones is out. If New England had a tougher matchup, who knows what that team looks like? But they're playing Green Bay, and Green Bay just bleeds points to the running backs. So I'm leaving Ramondre in. If it was a harder matchup, I would consider taking a shot on DJ Moore, but you can't. So
Yep. All right.
It's rough.
Who you got in this one?
Chris.
Boyer also went Chris. I am tempted to go Charlie here. I think CD has a really big game against the Commandos. The problem is that that's the only player on Charlie's team that I like, but I'm looking for a way to get him a win. Yeah, I don't think
you got 3 timeshare running backs. I mean,
yeah. Even
hard.
if Dylan has a good game, CD has a good game, but you look at Chris's team, he's got Chase and Diggs, and both of their quarterbacks suck. So I gotta go Chris. I want to try to give it to you, Charlie, but I can't talk myself into it like I did with Paul over the duo. I just can't. Your team sucks. Sorry, bud.
All right, so let's jump to Colin versus Boyer. As weird as this is to say, Russell Wilson or Derek Carr. They play each other this week.
Not good for anybody. Derek Carr's had 2 touchdowns every week, and he's throwing roughly 40 times a game. I think that I would put him ahead of Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson only has 2 passing touchdowns. Yep. That's bad.
I'm with you. I'm not banking on Russell Wilson if I don't have to at this point.
Yeah. You got to show me at this point with Russell Wilson. If I've got another option and Colin does, then you're riding pine until I see it.
Yep. Outside of that, Chargers defense got 1 point against Kansas City, -4 points against Jacksonville. They play Houston this week, which is a good matchup. The Niners have had 5, 15, and 8 fantasy points, but they play the Rams this week. Who are you starting on defense?
I'm sticking with the Chargers. They've got a lot of talent there, but they have also got a few injuries now after coming out of last week. But going against Houston, I feel way better about the Chargers than I do about the Niners against the Rams.
That's fair. I learned my lesson week 1 with the Bills, though, and I thought that I couldn't play them against whoever, the Chiefs or whatever. And I got shut down. So to be honest, at this point, I'm probably throwing the Niners in, banking on an interception from Stafford, banking on a fumble, banking on a couple sacks or something, and just grabbing some points. I'm playing the best defense, and I think that's the Niners. So, but other than that, I don't really see any other roster decisions. You're not sitting Olave. You're probably not sitting Devonta Smith after last week, and Jalen Waddle's not being sat unless he's injured. If for some reason Jalen Waddle doesn't play Thursday, who are you starting out of this bench? Treylon Burks has to be it, right? Njoku?
Yeah, I feel like, man, I mean, I feel like Njoku's chasing last week if you play him. I get it if you do that, but it never works. You missed on the 19 or the 16-point week or whatever you ended up getting last week. You missed on it. It's gone. And putting him in your lineup this week, whether it be over Kittle or in the flex if Waddle's out, is just it's just chasing at this point, and I don't think it works. So I'm going with Burks if I have to.
Waiver wire preferably.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. I just figured I'd ask because we don't know about Waddle on Thursday being a short week. With Boyer, Travis Etienne had 13 carries last week, got himself 7.5 fantasy points. Are you starting him over Breece Hall? Are you starting him over Dameon Pierce? I think Dameon Pierce has earned that spot, so I don't know that I'm doing that. But over
Yeah.
Breece Hall with 8 carries last week. Are you
Um,
starting Tyler Boyd this week? I don't think so.
no, I wouldn't play Boyd. I am not putting ETN in. Most of what he did was when they were killing clock and on that very last drive. So I am gonna leave it how Boyer has it right now.
I would agree. And then Dawson Knox, Tunyon, you keep Knox in. Neither one's been good.
Neither one has been good. This is true.
Tunyon did get 7 targets, 6 receptions, but only had 37 yards last week. Dawson Knox went 4 for 25.
Yeah. Not good.
You just chased a big game in Buffalo, Baltimore.
I mean, I think I like there to be more points scored by Buffalo than by Green Bay against the Patriots. So lean that way.
Okay.
It's
Fair
a coin
enough.
flip of not great. You're hoping for a touchdown, and I would lean toward Knox, but it's not great.
Yep. Fair enough. All right. Who's going to win this matchup then? I'm leaning Boyer.
I'm gonna go Boyer too, but this one feels like it's gonna be close.
I feel like Jonathan Taylor is going to take off this week, which is going to adjust this a little bit, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Josh Allen versus Russell Wilson, Derek Carr is also a big difference. So as long as
True.
there are points being put up in Buffalo, Josh Allen is fine. And I think that pushes Boyer slightly over the edge there.
Yeah, and like I don't think that Waddle's groin injury is gonna be a problem. I don't think he's gonna miss the game, but Waddle with the even mildly bothering him nether regions, and then Boyer's got Tyreek on the other side. Like if that means that Tyreek's doing more of the work on Thursday in a game that could be a shootout, that's a big advantage to Boyer on top of the quarterback disparity. So I mean, even if Taylor goes off, I think Boyer's got it handled with those two guys.
And then Mike Williams is probably going to benefit from Keenan Allen coming back this week, where I don't think Devonta Smith is going to be a 8 reception for 169 yards and a touchdown guy again. So I don't know. I think Boyer probably wins, but this is a hell of a matchup.
Yeah, I like this matchup. It should be fun to watch. Hopefully it's a good one. Hopefully guys are sweating Kittle and the Rams defense and what have you on Monday night, and we've got wide receivers squaring off on Thursday night. This is the start to finish nail biter, hopefully.
Yep. So, all right, you took who?
I took Boyer.
Okay, who'd Boyer take?
Boyer also picked himself. So
Okay.
we picked across the line Ty, Walker, Chris, and Boyer. In the Fryer Robbie matchup, Boyer was the only one to pick Robbie. And in the duo Paul matchup, I was the only one to pick Paul. So those are the only two that we had some variation this week. Which means sorry to Ty, Walker, Chris, and Boyer for your losses because we all picked you and we've been doing shit.
Oh, that's not good. All right. Well, before we wrap things up, we are going to end with a awful joke. Andy, why don't blind people skydive?
Because they don't know when to pull the chute.
Because it scares the hell out of their dog.
That's bad.
Yes. That's a good joke right there.
I like it. That's good.
All right. On that note, we're out. I hope you all have a great week. I hope I can get a win this week. And we'll be back with you all next week. See ya.